Okay, welcome again, everybody. Okay. Flavia, can you show me the thumbs up if you can see the screen? Okay, awesome. Welcome. Welcome to our October studio of World Farmers Markets Coalition Academy. Today's topic is participatory certification. That's a more generalized term, but also known as PGS or Participatory Guarantee System at farmers markets. Okay, so we have very exciting. We have Flavia Moura Castro, our external speaker for us today for both sessions, today and later. She's an expert in PGS to share with us her experience. For this hour, we have Ha and Rashida from Vietnam and Morocco. I see that Rashida just came in. Hi, Rashida, to share their experience and have a conversation with Flavia after Flavia's presentation. And for the next session, we have folks from Brazil and Mexico also. It's going to be an entirely different conversation, as you know, even though we have the same topic. So if you have time, please join us again. And then we will have open discussion at the end. We will try our best to leave time to do that. Hold on one second. No. Okay. Okay. Communicate really quickly. So we are making 1 hour out of our very busy days from all over the world. Let's be present. Let's be all here and be engaged. And we welcome all of your different, multiple and different points of view, and we will welcome in and honor them. We hold judgments or disagreements softly because we know we have them, and that's not a bad thing. We will hold them with respect, and we will trust everybody's intent in their speaking and acknowledge the impact on how they land on other people, even with the best intention. We will listen to learn. We will also ask to understand as opposed to not ask and not understand or misunderstand. We will make space for other people. We will also take space for ourselves when it's time for you to speak. We will think briefly. We only have 1 hour, so we will think in sentences, not paragraphs. Okay, Flavia Moura e Castro. I am privileged to introduce her. She's from Brazil. She lives in Germany right now, and I've seen her in Italy. So she's also all over the world. She has been working on this participatory work, certification work, and participatory approaches to decision making, capacity building, and knowledge development. She has worked for IFOAM. IFOAM Organic International is where the concept and standards of PGS comes from, but she will talk about it more. And now she's an independent consultant. She collaborates with smallholders, family farmers, researchers, and organizations around the world to strengthen participatory guarantee system initiatives, facilitates processes, co-creates learning experience, training, things like that. You can read her bio later when we share the recording and the slides together, okay? So I'm going to just hand it over. Oh, actually, no, I take it back. I have to also briefly introduce our co-speakers, conversationists here. Ha, as you are familiar, she's our one of our inaugural board members of World Farmers Markets Coalition, and she leads the regional group of East Asia and Oceania. And she's with HealthBridge Foundation of Canada, managing the Livable Cities program in Vietnam. And she has been working, she has an extensive experience in policy advocacy for public spaces, including farmers markets, for her city and at the national level. And she has done a number of federal level, the national level, technical support, working with government and similar stakeholders. And she's here to share with us her experience in Vietnam and have a conversation with Flavia. Rashida, welcome, Rashida. She's from Morocco. She's a consultant, teacher, and trainer, expert in a number of things, including sustainable development, agroecology. She's also the president of the Moroccan Network of Agroecology. And I know that she has been doing the PGS for a while, for a long time. And so we're very, very excited to have her share her experience as well. With that, Flavia, I'm going to hand it over to you. Is that okay?
Thank you, Robin. Yes, thank you for this introduction. And welcome, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here and to talk to you a little bit about my favorite topic of all times, which is participatory guarantee systems, or PGS. Yeah, we just use the acronym that makes it a little bit easier. But you know, we're talking about participatory certification. So I would like to start, go straight into the topic. Basically, I wanted to try to put everyone on the same page, and we start. I just got, sorry, a request to confirm my speaking language.
Oh, no, that you can just ignore that.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry for that.
To get smart on you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. The artificial intelligence. Let's go for collective intelligence then.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here. So PGS, basically, let's look at what they are, what they're not, where they are. And then we will also see a little bit about how they work in general, and then we get into some practice in the conversation with the speakers we have here today with us. So first of all, PGS are basically quality assurance systems, or we can also refer to them as certification systems, a specific approach. So the essential elements that they have are a set of standards, or we say agreed upon rules. It's very important that everyone has joined in making those rules and agreeing them. Also, specific steps to check that these rules are being followed. In the case of PGS, the classic or the characteristic is peer review. That's where the participatory comes from in terms of the process to verify that the rules are being followed. And then also a logo or a visible graphic element, something that can be easily identified, used for communication for the people that are involved in the process. No? So very general, theoretical definition. And all of these elements, they also come in to the definition that IFORM Organics International, that's the organization where I worked for a long time, that has been involved in PGS or in developing this framework that they have adopted in 2008 in Modena at the General Assembly there. So the definition basically says that PGS are locally focused quality assurance systems, which means that they really have a sort of a territorial focus. No? They're really linked to specific areas, regions, local markets, and they are certification approaches. So they certify the producers and processors, but in a very specific way. So based on active participation of stakeholders. And then the word stakeholders basically means everyone that is involved, no, in this system. And they are also built on trust. Trust is the basis for it to exist. They don't exist without social networks, and that's meaning the linkages between all the people that are involved and how they support each other, and knowledge exchange. So PGS really only work if there is regular exchange of knowledge and proper communication channels that are set up for the people that benefit from it, that are actively involved in it. So this definition, and it's okay, you can move forward, Robin. This definition was sort of brought up by the organic movement, so organic agriculture, and also back then agroecology movement, but it remains relevant for any kind of quality assurance. This is really something important to keep in mind. So PGS, it's not just about organic agriculture. PGS is not just about agroecology, even though it is mostly used. Most of the experiences we have are on that, and we will look at the map to see that a little bit later. What are they not? PGS are not, first of all, owned by any organization or any individual. So this is going back to the definition. I said IFOAM came up with that definition, but it's not, the definition doesn't come from the organization. There's a set of international experts that got together, looked into what different PGS initiatives were doing, and came up with something that would serve as a unifier. No, for this, many people refer to as PGS movement, within the movement, within the movement. So PGS are basically there, they exist, they are out in the world, and they can be used, they can be started, they can be developed by anyone or any group of people who wants to start a new PGS initiative. But they are not always accepted. And if we are looking at the organic sector, organic agriculture market, it is regulated in many countries. No? So if you want to certify something as organic, if you want to make organic claims, in some cases you really need to go for third-party certification. Nevertheless, there are plenty of groups of farmers, they decide to do even both. One to access the market, the other one for various reasons, different benefits, so we can look at it later on. PGS are not simple. Yeah, it's not a list of things that everyone does exactly the same. And if you pass, you pass. If you fail, you're out, and that's it. That's not how PGS work. Okay, we're talking about complex, knowledge-intensive, interaction-intensive social processes that also take time. They take patience. They take interactions. They take collective. They create, and they are based on collective intelligence. That's how I like to see them too. As I said, they also take time, so they are not quickly operational. Yeah, it takes time to develop the system, to adapt it to a specific context, to make sure everyone is aware of how things work, of their own roles, and for this capacities to mature. Which means also that they are not one size fits all. Each PGS initiative is unique, is different, and that's a strength in the approach. Yeah. And finally, they are not just about certification. We started saying PGS they are a certification approach and guarantee system, yes, but it's not just about that. There are many benefits. They go beyond the generation of a specific quality guarantee. So if you look at the next slide, I can tell you a little bit. Yeah, as I said, they emerged within the organic agriculture movement and agroecology. And IFOAM Organics International is still the organization, as far as we know, the only one that is collecting data and gathering information about PGS and how PGS is implemented around the world. And they maintain this map. You can see the link to it if you want to check it out. It is an interactive map, so you can click on each one of those markers to see what that specific initiative is about, also to understand the different colors of the markers there. But you can see basically PGS are everywhere. Yeah, whether the market is regulated or not, it doesn't matter. It's important to keep in mind that this is really only a measure of how of the PGS initiatives for organic agriculture that are being implemented around the world. There are other initiatives that are not there. So if you see that it's already very populated, it's not showing the whole picture. We have PGS being implemented also in other places a lot more, and we're just not talking about it.
Now, what's going on in the United States?
In the United States,
Hey.
yeah, the United States is a really interesting case where you have a blue marker there, which means that you have a PGS initiative that has been recognized by IFRM Organics International. And they are actually active in also in Canada a little bit, and in Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they adopt a very interesting approach, certified naturally grown. You can also look them up later on. So let's see. We said, well, I said I wanted to talk about a bit how PGS are implemented. Now we saw where they are. Those markers, they show basically different initiatives that group farmers, that facilitate markets, that advocate for recognition. But all of them do it following a little bit the steps that I'm showing here in terms of actual PGS implementation. So I like this image, which has been developed in the framework of a project by IFRM Organics International, to show how the Kilimohai, or organic logo in East Africa, is granted to individual farmers or to groups of farmers. And you see it's a circular image, and right in the middle you have a group of people sitting and talking. Yeah, so PGS really starts from that, from a group of stakeholders, that they share their vision and they say, we would like to do to achieve specific objectives. So we agree on how we are going to get there, to get organized. And basically then you have the process to check that this is happening is a process that is looking also at capacity building on an ongoing basis. So we start to check what is being done, to see if these rules are being followed. And at the same time, we learn how to check. We learn how these rules apply to us or not, and how to adapt them. So we have regular peer review or group interviews also, yeah, in some cases, depending on the quality to be checked. There's a document then that is being used in that process. It can be referred to as a checklist, is a set of questions to ask. It can be boxes to tick, yes, sometimes they make sense, or it can be just open questions so that you know what to observe when you're visiting a farm, when you're talking to a producer. And at the end, the group that visited that farm will come up with a report. It's another document. That document includes the conclusions, the observations, maybe some points that need to be improved, that need to be assessed, or maybe some points that need to be celebrated. All of that is then written down. And this is one of the, let's say, opportunities to meet and exchange knowledge that take place within a PGS. There are other meetings that will then happen maybe with specific action groups that want to look at certain topics. Maybe you have different processors, for example, that are working on specific categories of project, and then they will want to have separate meetings. So it's, as I said, a complex social process. You have different groups of people meeting as based of their needs. That report coming out from the peer review is what is going to be used then to decide on a certification, and to say, okay, we've looked at this farm, we've looked at this producer, everything is working well according to the rules we agreed as a group that we would follow. So the certification can happen. Yeah, this decision can then be made considering various producers after various visits have taken place. And then, of course, you need to assign a certificate. Yeah, you need to show this recognition in some case. It can be a piece of paper. It can be a little statement that the producer will put at the market stall where the products are being sold. And it could also be access to a specific logo that then the producer will be able to use in their package, in the labeling, in T-shirts or whatever, to communicate this quality, because this is also very important. We are not doing this just for the sake of, implementing rules and checking that they are being implemented. No, we also want to communicate this generation of a specific guarantee serves the purpose of building trust between producers or among producers that are in the group, and producers and the consumers as well. Ultimately, this is a business. We want to sell our products. We want to access a specific market. So communication is essential. And then you see arrows pointing in one direction, and it's not that like this is stop. I would see this more as a spiral, because the process continues as new farmers come in, new markets are created. There's a regular need for exchange and improvement and adaptation. So basically, yeah, currently, as I said, organic agriculture and agroecology are the sustainability standards, or if you look at a set of rules or approaches that use PGS the most. But there are also private brands and companies now that are adopting PGS as part of their internal quality assurance systems. And yeah, PGS have been developing also into some kind of general management framework at farmers markets. No? That's one of the points that we discussed in Terra Madre in the session, and we presented there. So I would like to talk about that a little bit too today. But first of all, I think it would be really nice if we open the conversation a bit to the people we have speaking with us here today that are involved in PGS at some level, right? I had asked exactly a few questions just as conversation topics. It would be interesting to look at motivations, challenges, and benefits. I think that those are three practical points that are probably relevant to all of you listening in today to implement, or basically coming in as a part of implementation of PGS. And yeah, as you can see, the questions were related to why did people try to start experimenting with PGS, adopted this approach, what kind of challenges they face. So let's maybe look at the biggest one. What was the biggest one, and how did you manage to address it, or didn't you? No? And the positive impacts, because ultimately they turn also in motivation, no? For implementing this aspect. So yeah, I think we could then invite from Vietnam.
Yeah. I'm going to drop the question. These are general guiding questions.
Yeah.
Flavia will use, and I'll drop it in the chat for all of you. I'm going to put you all in highlight. I have so many questions, and I think I already see questions coming, so keep them. I will keep mine until the end. Where's Ha? So I mean, this is like such a important concept for farmers market folks to really embrace, and yet like coming from the US, we have the government, certification, like organic, whatever system. And it's not, I mean, maybe I'll speak for myself. It's not necessarily on people's mind to really think, oh, farmers markets is a place where, the organic status is clean food is guaranteed. So I really think that, this is something that we really need to embrace as a farmers market people, and then we will hear about it. I'm looking for Rashida, but we can get started with Ha. Yeah, I will leave it with you.
Yeah, so initially, I understood that we would have a conversation with people that are actively involved in a specific PGS. I would say, okay, we can really go for implementation questions, which it's not really the case here, but still we can look at those points that I mentioned, the conversation topics also from a different perspective. And I understand Ha is engaged in policy work, not really managing farmers markets, but has is in continuous contact and interaction with market operators in Vietnam. So it would be great if you could share with us a little bit about what comes up more often in these discussions. Is it about PGS implementation? Is it challenges with PGS implementation? Or do they celebrate the benefits of PGS implementation? And yeah, it would be interesting to hear from you a bit. What's the situation in Vietnam?
Thank you, Flavia, and thank you, Robin, for inviting me to the panel. And so I'll be quickly in responding to your questions. So during my conversation with farmer market operators, and I found that the most important challenges that they facing is that to recruit and maintain farmers who are practicing PGS to farmers market, because you know that big farms, they usually sell their produces to supermarket or safe food store network chains, but small farms usually find it difficult to apply PGS because of it's quite high cost, quite expensive to apply PGS for them. So the farmers market want to support them to sell their produce and to find customers. So it's not, but they found that not many small farmers households are practicing PGS. I know that in Vietnam so far we have around 4,000 households practicing PGS in Vietnam right now. So they found that it's quite difficult to find the farmers and invite them to their markets. So that's one of the main challenges. The others are to maintaining those farmers market, so those farmers to sell at the market. Those farmers, they have to travel far, and they have to to keep their produce fresh. So that's incurring significant travel cost for them. So they really found it very difficult to consistently participate in farmers market. Yeah. And one more challenge that they are facing, that the operator told me that they are facing, is that organic agricultural produce are seasonal. So the offerings at farmers markets sometimes lack variety. Yeah, that's some challenges that they told me that they are facing.
Thanks for that's interesting to see how the challenges of implementing a guarantee system are somehow very linked or very similar to challenges in basically maintaining a farmer's market. Now, this is something we also have seen in different setups. When you look at PGS just as a guarantee system, we're talking about farmers' capacities to keep records, to implement specific practices, and also to access certain markets. Of course, market access can be limited for various reasons. So if there is a process that can help them basically tackle all these different challenges, this could be a motivation for them to start a PGS. But as far as I understand, PGS has been practiced in Vietnam also already for many years, started with some international external support, right?
Yes. Yeah, some international NGO came to Vietnam and they initiate PGS projects. My colleague here from Riconto, she's also here. They also have a project to support PGS in Vietnam, to promote PGS in Vietnam. And I think the Vietnamese government also very supportive to PGS practice.
That's good. So ideally, enabling legal framework also supports that. Not that if it's not there, if it's not enabling, it doesn't allow for them to exist, which is the case in the US, for example. We said no, the certified naturally grow, they are operational there already for many years, and that's outside the official framework for organic there. Yeah, that's great. I'm not sure how we're keeping time, Robin. I'm wondering.
You're doing fine. Yeah, probably another 10-12 minutes. I guess for Rashida here.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe we move to Rashida now, and I would actually ask her to share a bit about her experience in Morocco, so that we can continue the conversation. We talked a little bit about challenges in Vietnam. Maybe we just briefly address benefits of PGS instead in Morocco. Rashida, I know you've been involved in the development of a PGS label in Morocco, right? So basically, if you could talk a little bit about the positive impacts that PGS implementation has had since it started in the country, how, who benefits from it the most, and what kind of dynamics you have seen in farmers markets where, farmers that have access to the label have been offering their products.
Hi everybody. Thank you, Flavia, for the presentation. So in Morocco, we have implemented PGS since 2018, and it was a challenge for us because as a Moroccan network of agroecology, we promote agroecology in Morocco. Then farmers had a problem with the commercialization of their production as agroecological products. So it was for us the key to implement a local agroecological label. And we was helped by the CIRAD. It's an institute who worked on PGS for a long time. So the importance of PGS for us is that the label is co-managed between producers and consumers, and all the involved stakeholders, and which enable to sell the production in a short channel. And also it is what's also important is because the biocertification, it's very expensive. And we have Moroccan certification, biology, organics one, but it's very expensive for the small farmers. So our label is at fair cost, and also we implement all the documents. We was in a participatory participatory system. So all the documents were produced by our members, and we have the value charter documents. We have the specifications for crops, and we implement all the things like this as in a workshops. So it was in a consensus decisions. And now our farmer markets, we sell the production with the label, with the Moroccan agroecological label. And it is managed by our NGO till now. I don't know if you have another questions, but what I can say also that for us, the PGS, we have 6 principles. I think it's the same everywhere. We should have a shared vision with the participation of all the stakeholders. It should be in a transparency system. We should trust on everyone, and it's also in the process. It's in continuous improvement. So we are in continuous improvements, and we have horizontal governance. That's what I can say, and we are very happy with this participatory system.
Yeah. If you could just share a little bit, maybe, what do you think it's the main benefit of having gone through all this process? It is probably taken quite a bit of time and effort from everyone involved. So what do you say it's the main benefit of having gone through that?
For us, the main benefit is that we connect consumers with producers. That's very important. Then consumers can see how the producers produce the productions, and also the producers, they are sure that there is consumers interested by their production. And there is it's a guarantee system for both producers and consumers.
Thanks. That's great. It's good to hear that in practice how what kind of benefits you can get from it, because I briefly mentioned that PGS is not just about certification. It's important to think of it as a certification
and also,
system.
If I can add also, there is also the process of the certification, the labeling. I prefer labeling than certification. The process is when the auditor, we don't call them in PGS auditor, but when they visit the farm for the certification, for the control, there is also an exchange of experiences. That's very important. Then we organize the meetings to discuss if we can give the PGS or not. It's also a time of exchange of experiences of each farmers with. So it's very rich process. It's not just like labeling and that's it. It's also the process of the certification is very interesting and very rich of experience of each producer and consumer.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly where I was getting into, because if we look at markets, they only exist if they connect all these different stakeholders as well. So they are the perfect setting, actually, to establish a system like this. And I've seen in the chat, in the comments a little bit, one of the points made there is that there are many farmers market where a system like that is already being implemented. Maybe it's not called participatory certification, maybe it's not called PGS, maybe it's called something like entry filters. Well, that's something I've seen in this recent work I did for Slow Food, looking at earth markets. Elena Sandrone from Slow Food is also there, can share a little bit maybe. But just to briefly talk on to you about motivation, those were the benefits, challenges, and motivation to start to implement PGS were the points I asked people to come and share with us a bit. They are very linked and related. But if we just look at what emerged from these interviews we did with Slow Food Earth Market coordinators, the main motivation for them to start implementing PGS was actually to improve market governance and to ensure alignment with the market philosophy, or with slow food philosophy in this case. That was the guarantee they were targeting. And yeah, basically the quality of the produce they offer. But there were also a few other points reasons that emerged during the study, which were, for example, exchanging or enhancing the exchanges among exhibitors, creating more opportunities, but also increasing the quality of those exchanges. In many cases, we saw producers and processors, they only saw each other at the market. Yeah. And it's fine. Everyone is busy producing, and then when they are at the market, they're also busy with the market business. So ultimately, it was just the coordinator having the chance to see everyone, and with the PGS, this opportunities for them to visit each other, to understand each other's practices was, yeah, they had more opportunities for that.
So I have a question. Is that okay? So then I'm looking at the time. So we will open up the floor to the audience, and then Ha and Rashida can also answer any questions there may be. And I also see, Carmelo S. Saluzzo writing here, and like there are people, and Haruni from Sri Lanka. I see. Hello. I know that you've all been doing this. So the way that the PGS conversation, became real today was because of the last month we were talking about vendor recruitment and how to keep the vendors or farmers accountable to ensure that they sell what they say they're going to sell week after week, and how, to ensure that they're not buying from wholesalers, and bringing somebody else's goods. But when that happens, how do we deal with it? So then the participatory guarantee, it kept on coming up. So this is a very, very related and necessary concept for us to be discussing here in this space for farmers market managers. So having said that, can I ask a very practical question? So I know there are folks in this room who have not done this before, who might be wondering, okay, so what's the first step? Where do you begin? What's the first thing? And if you were to do this for the first time as a farmer's market, what is the job? Like, it sounds to me like the farmer's market manager has a lot to do in, self-regulating, self-managing also. Like, is it really just self? Is it just organic? No pun intended that way? Or is it really managed by somebody? So what's the role of farmer's markets manager? Those are the two questions. Where do you start? Or anybody here? Flavia, maybe you can start. Oh, or hi, yes.
Yes, Robin, I also discussed about this topic with one farmers market operator, and she shared with me that she participated in the team who came to the farmers to verify the PGS producers. Yeah. So there was, there's also a member of the team. Yeah.
Yeah. Flavia, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I have a very simple answer, which is just start it, right? PGS will not start if you
As in
don't
like,
start
okay,
doing
so
it.
do I
Yeah.
go find the stakeholder groups? Do I talk to
Exactly.
the farmers
So
first? Like literally, what do I do tomorrow if I
you
want to
can
do this?
you can start from different points, but as I said in that drawing that I showed, the focus, the center is always the people coming together and talking about it. So first of all, is saying, okay, we have identified this issue we would like to address as a group. So when in this group, who could take up what kind of, for example, role to coordinate initial visits? Do we see the need for the visits to start happening immediately now? Do we already have a set of rules that we want to follow? If we already have specific, for example, criteria to accept new vendors, so we can start maybe by checking that everyone complies with this criteria, having everyone visited at least once. Do we have a guiding document to check this criteria? So maybe we need to develop it first. We agree that we want to start visiting each other. We create a document to guide this visit. We practice by having 1, 2, 3 visits, and then we go back. Is this document working well? Can we exchange, change some of the questions? Can we increase it, or yeah?
Okay. So then I am playing, obviously I'm playing, well, I'm not even playing dumb. I don't know how to do this because I'm not a farmer's market manager. So my question then will be, maybe Rashida, you can help me.
Yeah.
And also I see Isabel from Andalusia. Her question, totally, I was thinking the same thing. So that's, you say the circular process, it keeps on going. Great. But how can you sustain this? Who finances this? What is the role of farmer's market manager, Rashida, in this?
Yeah, from our experience, I can talk from our experience. The first thing to do is to constitute a group, a community who are interested by the PGS, and we should develop all the documents of the PGS together, and we should agree to develop all the documents. And to convene people, we should maybe invite someone or a group, one of the group who are already implementing PGS, or an expert to explain what's the objectives, how we can work, and everything. So we should explain everything to the community. Then we start with the documents. We should write all the documents of the PGS. Then I agree with the questions of Isa. Isa from Spain said that the challenge is to maintain the participation of everyone and to sustain. So the economic sustainability is very interesting. But the objective of the PGS is to have a group who can create, it could be a market, or it could be a shop, or it could be another thing. But the main objective of the sustainability is ecological and economical sustainability. So we should work together on a market we should have also a strategy of marketing, because we develop PGS. It's a guarantee that our production is safe, is good for healthy, but we should also have a strategy for marketing, how we can develop marketing of PGS production. We should work with both together.
Excellent comments. People keep dropping your comments in the chat. We're reading it. So I guess the next question. So I'm now thinking there are the farmers market managers, our members, and otherwise in this room and in the world. And then there's a World Farmers Market Coalition, and there's also places like Slow Food, right? So what's my job in this? So I'm hearing, Rashida, training, Because strategic marketing, strategic planning, it's easy to say that, but I think I am thinking, there's some capacity building that we need to do with the markets and market managers in learning how to do strategic marketing, and what Carmelo Siluzzo wrote here. So it's funny, Carmelo, you say PDCA. In the US, we say PDSA, as in plan, do, study, act. The same thing. So that's a continuous quality improvement. So, but you have to have the PGS done once, right? So then you can actually have something to improve. And PDSA, we use that for public health. We use it everywhere. I teach it. And I train people. So we need training in that, farmers and also consumers, in understanding what this is, right? So what have you seen, Flavia? What have you done when you say, I know that you say you're a trainer and you have a really keen interest in doing capacity building. What kind of capacity building is needed, or what have you done?
Yeah. So basically, it's interesting what came out in the chat. Those 2 points are really crucial for PGS implementation, both capacity building and funding. Yeah. So you need funds, not even necessarily to pay anyone to do stuff. You often get very engaged people that will volunteer their time and knowledge to organize, to coordinate, but you still need a room to get people together so they can talk, maybe refreshments and things like that. It's very, very basic. Or logistics, if you're organizing a peer review, you need to take people to a farm and make sure they are they have refreshments and all of that. So very basic financing from that point of view. But I would say a good way to start is and to develop this capacity is really by doing. So capacity building with a very hands-on approach that includes spending some time discussing what is it that we want to achieve with the PGS altogether, how each one of us can be involved, and maybe trying out the different things that Rashida mentioned, coming up with guiding documents, practicing the peer review, the actual farm visit, and reflecting on these exercises. What worked well for us, what should we do differently? And this can be done both as as one specific training. We do a little pilot, maybe as a farmers market. We have a few exhibitors that are involved or interested in being involved in the PGS. We start with them. We start with 5 or 3, just so that we have a little variety. And then another option is also to just get a group of people that are interested and visit an initiative that is doing that, so that we learn from them. And as you listen from the experience of others, you get ideas that reflect in your reality, so that you can start building, even if it's just at the, in your imagination, what the process could look like in your own setting.
I think there's one good last question that Randy from Norway put, Flavia and Anha and Rashida. We got 3 minutes. Can you each answer this or comment on this? 1 minute each? This is a fair point. And to this, I will also add, Flavia, what you said, the cost is minimal. If you don't count, I'm going to challenge that. If you don't count people's time, that's also money. That's actually the most expensive part. And that there comes a sustainability issue, right? So how would you respond to Randy's comment here? Can we start with Flavia and then Rashida and Ha?
So we're talking about the question, the process in itself, very good for many things. Yeah. Okay. I fully agree that the focus should not be on labeling. If I mentioned that right at the beginning, it's because communication is essential. And PGS will only really work if it's beneficial to the people that are involved in it. The farmers will not go through any extra work. The exhibitors will not go through any extra work if they are not getting anything out of it. And it could be access to a specific logo, access to a specific market, a market that says we only sell produce from people that have gone through the process. This could be a specific benefit. Yeah. And that reaches the consumers in some way. So ideally, you can create that to the specific reality.
That's part of
you
the
have
training that we can
communication.
think about, you know, in communicate, how to communicate with consumers. Yeah.
Exactly.
So next
And-
session with Mexico, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But Rashida,
Yeah.
how would you respond to comment on Randy's comment here?
Yeah, for me, the PGS is a label, is kind of marketing label also. It's not just for change, and also it's a guarantee for consumers. But we don't forget that the process of labelization, PGS labelization, is a participatory labelization, and there is a part of we should be a little bit volunteer. So we agree on what we are doing. So consumers and producers should work together to implement this PGS. Then because for consumers, consumers who are looking for good quality production without chemicals should be part of this process, and also producers who will sell their production should be part of this process. So there is an economic interest, but we should be also how can I say it? We should be also be we should, I don't know what's in English.
You can say in French.
C'est-à-dire on doit croire en fait en ce qu'on fait. Et be part of change, because we with farmer park markets, we are also part of change. We try to change processes. So there isn't just economic, but we are also we try to change things.
Yeah,
So
so it's a
that-
really sense of ownership.
yeah.
Part of it, cooperative, and that to me again goes back to part of educating our consumers as part of our community.
We in our NGO, we agree on this. So we don't do everything just for money, but we do something for the changes, for the sustainable agriculture.
A great challenge. 30 seconds. Sorry. You're muted. No, you're muted. Uh-oh, you muted again.
Okay, can you hear me
Yes.
now? Okay.
Try again.
So I wanted to highlight the trust building in PGS, and the trust is very important in Vietnam, because the customer in Vietnam, we love to buy food from trusty source. So farmers market with PGS can bring to people to buy food from trusty source. So I think trust building is very important. And
Trust building. Yes.
Yeah.
I swear to God, every studio we have, we end with trust building, how that is the most important thing. So beautiful. Okay. We went over by 1 minute. Sorry. So follow us if you're not already on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We are putting together a playlist of all of our studios from the very beginning of our time, and you can share with your friends. Bring your colleagues and friends to our studio. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And thank you for Flavia and Rashida and Ha for being here and to speak with us. I know you're all very busy, and all the participants too. If you have time, I promise the Brazil and Mexico examples will also be very interesting. Flavia will be there again. So join us again. If not, we will see you next month. Bye, everybody. Bye.
thank you.
Ciao, ciao.